Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Monday, May 16th, 2022. I had to look at that for a while, and for whatever reason, I was looking at my watch. I guess it's upside down for you guys, but I was looking at my watch, and I just like, my mind drew a blank. I'm like, what am I looking at here? I mean, it says like 0101. Let me flip it back over for you guys. But it was just like upside down. Let's see, will we get focus on this? Will we get focus on this? There we go. It was like 0101 and then the 516. I just looked at it and I was like, what happened to my watch? What is my watch trying to tell me? So like my brain like stopped working for a second there. But today is May 16th and it's a Monday. So it's a Monday Mukbang day. Today what we're going to do is we talked about the Kung Pao cauliflower from Trader Joe's the other day, last week. And I had some, so I was like, today's a good day to eat that. I'm in the mood for it now. It's basically like tempura Kung Pao, tempura cauliflower that they also have like, there's a Kung Pao sauce. So what I've done today is I've made the Kung Pao cauliflower and then I've had a little bit of the Kung Pao sauce. Plus I also brought some other sauces because I'm like, what can you do? You can do more stuff than just the sauce it came with when it comes to like tempura cauliflower. So I've got some ranch dressing here, of course. And then I got, I melted some butter and I'm going to put some hot sauce in it. We'll make some buffalo sauce and we'll try that too, you know? So we'll give it a shot. Sean Devlin says, happy Ranch Monday, everybody. Very much Doug running in the Brooks Catamounts on some gnarly New England trails for the first time over the weekend. Surprisingly comfier than the go-to Sense ride. It's really cool. Yeah, it'll be a Ranch Monday. I'm not sure if we'll have ranch every Monday from here on out, but whenever we can kind of sneak it in there, we'll definitely do that. Before I get any further, let's say hi to everyone listening on the podcast, on the audio-only version. Hopefully having a good run out there today. The weather in Chicago is glorious. It is that, right now, guys, it is that 1 week a year where Chicago weather is just absolutely sensational. I had a recovery ride, so I rode the bike for an hour and a half today, and it was just so delightful to be out there. So hopefully you guys are having a good run. And everyone watching this later after the fact, hopefully it's mealtime for you or you just finished eating, because otherwise you're going to be hungry by the time we're done here. I got to tell you, I'm hungry. I can smell some of these sauces. I can smell this food. I can't wait to get eating. But let's see who else we got here. Steven76 says the Creator Award. Yeah, I finally got like the email from YouTube over the weekend. I mentioned it kind of takes a minute after you cross the 100,000 subscriber mark to get the email from YouTube that says like, you know, congratulations on it. It's very generic. I mean, it just means that there's a lot of people hitting this mark, but it's like, congratulations on hitting your milestone. You know, find the link, you know, follow the instructions below to claim your Creator Award. So, you know, I don't need it to be like, congratulations. That doesn't need to be a form letter, you know, congratulations, Kofuzi, on reaching 100,000 subs. But it did feel a little bit kind of cold, but, you know, happy to get the email nonetheless. Leona says, congrats, Mike, on the Creator Award. Definitely well deserved. Thank you so much. And Susie says, hi, Mike. I am running Brooklyn too. Awesome. Susie, well, I'm not going to be running the race. I will be there. I got a message from Ben earlier today posting details on the shakeout run. It's going to be 4 p.m. on Friday in the Dumbo area, right by where I don't know if it's a Dumbo or the Dumbo area, right along the water, right where the packet pickup is. So like he's going to pack up pickup a little bit earlier, so he'll be coming out of there, and then we'll do a shakeout run if anyone wants to go. I'll post more information on it in the Strava, the Kofuzi Run Club in the group run, so you guys can, you know, let us know kind of how many people are coming. I don't think there's going to be any merch support for this one or any brand support, but it just gives us an idea of like kind of how many people to look out for. Ben's nervous. He's like, I don't want to set up this big thing and then have like no one show up. I'm like, I think a lot of people are going to come to see you, Ben. Not every day that you come to the U.S. So I was like, people are going to be excited to see you. So hopefully we'll have a good showing. David Prabhu says, where'd it go? Good afternoon, co-fam. Louis says, yo, what's going on? Lucas H says, hello, my running friends. Been busy, so I'm missing the live streams lately, but always listening to the podcast later. Porta potty and poop talk has been making me LOL. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been fun. I enjoy it. I'm about to eat, so I guess I won't tell you some of my grosser porta potty stories from over the weekend. Just kind of like normal. Sometimes they're not so great when they're outside of the race context. But I will say, I got it today. Speaking of porta potties, I got to ring the cowbell for my daughter. She ran her first 5K over the weekend, and she did fantastic. Her main goal was to not have to walk. We did kind of walk through the aid stations. I kind of did that as a compromise with her. I was like, I really think you should walk through the aid station so you can get more water. So we walked through the aid stations, but she ran the entire time, and she constantly wanted to know if she was ahead of everyone else from her school, because you kind of like line up by your school for this Girls on the Run 5K. I got to run it with her. I mean, you kind of have to, like all the students have to have a buddy. So that was awesome that we got to do it together, and I got to like see her really work hard. And, I was thinking that we'd probably be somewhere around 45 minutes for the 5K, but we came in at 40 minutes and 52 seconds. I did not tell her anything like, if you were in 52 seconds faster, you could have been sub 40. I'm sure that those kinds of thoughts, she's my daughter, so I'm sure that those kinds of thoughts are permeating her brain already. I didn't want to like inject that into the dialogue. I was just super proud of her. So ringing the cowbell for my daughter today. All right, let's see who else, if we got any other PRs from over the weekend. Brian Battaglia says he took 5 minutes off of his marathon PR yesterday in York, Pennsylvania. I will, over and over again. Got me there. Awesome. Great. Really, really great work. Congratulations. 5 minutes. That's a fantastic improvement. Good job, Brian. Let's see. New Betra says Girls on the Run is a cool program. They're out here in Western Mass too. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's getting bigger, which I think is really nice to see. There was so many kids there, a lot of kids there with their parents or other family members, and it was really just nice to see like so many families out running. So really, really cool. Mika says, evening all, got a raise, bought new shoes, so quite a nice day so far. That's a really great Monday. So good job, Mika. I love that. Love to hear that. Shannon says on that 5K, it had to have been such a proud dad moment. Both of my kids want to do the Macklin, Michigan 400 meter kid dash this year, and I'm so freaking excited for it. That sounds awesome. Yeah, that sounds cool. Really cool. Yeah, I definitely had a proud dad moment. I was holding her back because I was like telling her, all right, we're going to go gradually uphill for a long time. You could see it where the people start to disappear. That's the top of the hill, and then we'll go downhill under a bridge, and then you'll go right up a hill. The race finishes uphill. She's like, okay. And once she hit the downhill, she was like, I'm going to go. And I'm like, it's early. She's like, no, I'm going. And so I was like, okay, save some. There's still some more. There's a long, we're going to go underneath a long underpass. So it's a big bridge. She's like, I'm going to go. And then she just left. And I kept trying to be like, save some. But she had it. So she had so much there. So I was really excited to see her go. And I was just kind of like holding the camera because I was filming it. And I was like just screaming and cheering for her. So it was a great day. It was a great day. Miss CMR 80 says, hello from Dublin. Sorry I'm late. Well, glad to have you here. We're just getting settled in. No one's late. Matt Byer says, I'll be shooting to PR in the 10K race on Thursday. A goal under 45 minutes. B goal under 46:29, which is the current PR. Ooh, so feeling fit, Matt. You're gonna go for like a minute and a half. That's a good goal. Good luck to you. Thursday night race. Yeah, you're getting close to summer when you start seeing like the midweek evening races. So love to see it. All right. And we got, you know what? Let's get some of this. I'm so hungry right now. So I did get the chopsticks out for it because I thought that'd be easy. So I've got the cauliflower. I'm just going to dip it into this kung pao sauce just to start off with it. And we'll go with that. Here we go. Dipped in the sauce. It's really good. It's a little bit of spice to it. I'm tasting some red chili pepper and the spice. The cauliflower always just feels a little bit mushy. I did undercook it a little bit today, but even if you cook it really well, because it came out of the freezer, it always feels a little bit on the mushy side. But the tempura crust still nice and crunchy, so I'm enjoying it. I like this. I could eat this like every day, I think. There's a lot of sweetness to this kung pao sauce. and a very strong soy smell. But otherwise, I feel like it's pretty good. I like it. We'll get to some of the other flavors in just a minute. All right. Charles Ventura says, hey, it's been a while since I joined in. Training for my first marathon in June. Awesome. Yesterday was my longest run since I started running at 32 kilometers. Awesome. We got a long run PR over the weekend. I mean, we're getting close, Charles, then. Because June, I was just doing the math on grandma's, which I'm just talking about it now like I'm for sure into it, but I don't actually have a bib. ASICS is a sponsor, and so I think it's one of the trips that I'll be going on with them, so I'm not too concerned about it yet. But yeah, I'm just gonna start talking about it like I'm for sure going. And so yeah, I was looking at the math. It's June 18th, so like, once you hit June, you'll be tapering. And today's already the 16th, so like not too many long run weekends left. I mean, not to say that like the race is right around the corner, and hopefully I'm not making you nervous, Charles, but yeah, we're closer to the taper than we are to the beginning of the training at this point. So I'm feeling good about it. Although my run over the weekend, oh boy, I did a 20-mile run, which I felt good about. But I think I didn't eat anything for breakfast before I left. I got a late start in the morning, and so I just kind of like went out. I did have a lot of fuel and fluids with me, but I just think that like not having something in the belly to start set me off on the wrong foot. Fortunately, on my long run, I did run into a friend, a local guy, Jordan, who we've been talking. He's been running low heart rate for like the last 5 months. And and he said that on Sunday, yesterday, was going to be his first kind of like, he's starting to get ready for a race. So he's starting to put in some speedier efforts. And so I was like, oh, I hope I run into him today. And I did. And I ran into him as I was doing my workout phase of my long run, 10 miles at marathon effort. And he starts running, I was kind of passing him, and then he decides to run with me. And so he ran with me for like I was at like mile 6 of my workout, or at like the 10-mile mark total. And he ran the last 4 miles of my workout with me together. And I'm like, wait, don't you have, I'm like, how long is your on intervals for what you're doing today? He goes, oh, I'm still running easy, low heart rate. So I'm there struggling to do my 10 miles at marathon effort. And my heart rate was like 168. And he was still doing low heart rate running at like a heart rate of 151. So I was like, okay, that's, you're very strong. He's a little bit younger than I am too. So that there's certainly some differences there, but I'm like, okay, it's humbling, but everyone's heart rate's a little bit different. All right. Dennis Cheek says, hey, loving my non-elite hat. He says, good vibes. Awesome. I'm glad that you love it. I've been seeing people posting their non-elite hats, and every time I see it, I've been trying to share it, whether it's on Twitter or on Instagram. So thanks everybody. I think they look great on you guys. And I'm so excited about it. And Dad Arnell says, next time you do hats, can you do the short brim ones also? I do really like the short brim ones too, but I think because, well, they knew, Path Projects knew that I really love the Big Ben trucker hat. They know that that's my favorite, so they let me do the collab with my favorite hat. So I was happy about that. Right now I'm putting the hot sauce in some melted butter to make some buffalo sauce. But I do love the short brimmed hats. The other one that I like though, it's another long brimmed hat, and it's a black hat. It looks like a cycling cap, but it's solid. It's not like meshy like the short brimmed ones. And it has a long brim. So it's kind of like a mix between like a ball cap and a cycling cap. And I do really like that one as well. That's probably my second favorite one of the Path Projects hat. And then the third one would be the short brim ones. But Billy Yang just did his hat with the short brim. And so I feel like that could be another reason why they didn't want to do the short brim hat again, so it wasn't like 2 in a row. Another hat, not to say that you guys got to go out and buy like another Path Projects hat, but I did just see, if you guys are 10 Juck Miles followers, they have a collab hat out now too. I just saw that on Twitter, so I think I'm gonna have to pick up one. I already have like 8 Path Projects hats, but you can always use another hat. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, just mixing up some of this hot sauce and butter. I keep my buffalo sauce really, really basic. All right. Let's get it in here. See how this does. I mean, because I feel like this is basically like Hot Ones, right? That's what they do. I think Hot Ones, it's like breaded and fried cauliflower if the person's vegetarian. No, I'm trying to think if I've ever had like vegetarian buffalo wings or like basically cauliflower. And I gotta tell you, at least with the way that this is set up, my sauce maybe is not the best buffalo sauce. But that's all I'm tasting. It's like crunchy and then sauce. So I'm not loving the combo. I mean, I'm gonna still eat more of it because it's good and I'm hungry. But like, it's not working out as good as I hoped it would have. But tasty. I mean, hot sauce and butter. How can you go wrong, right? All right. Eric says, first 50K is on Saturday. Tapering sucks. Got my booster this past Saturday too. A weird week. All right. I mean, I feel like that's a good time to get the booster. There you go. So awesome. Yeah. In Chicago, in Evanston, one of the suburbs. I mean, it's not even a suburb. It's just like, I don't think I run all the way up to Evanston on my normal runs, but sometimes I get like kind of close. In Evanston, they are in like a high transmission state right now, and like the high school has a mask mandate back on for the kids in the high school, not in the elementary school, so not all the public schools there, but in the high school, which I was like, I really never thought I would see any institution at any level anywhere try and reinstate anything. So, I mean, kudos to them. It sucks the reason why, but kudos to them. And people, it's Evanston, so Evanston's a little bit different than like kind of the rest of Chicago. But it's cool to see that they're doing that and responding well. All right. Kurt Siege is eating some Mighty Mike's Good Ramen. That's a good product. I always feel like though there's something kind of like missing from the Mighty Mike sometimes. There's just I'm guessing the thing that's missing is MSG. That's probably what I'm missing from the flavor. There's just something that's kind of like this broth that could use something. I also think that the noodles sometimes are the thinner kind, and I generally prefer like chewier noodles for my ramen noodles. But I do feel like I need to stock up on some more Mike's Mighty Good Ramen. I see it at the store from time to time, and I'm like, I should pick that up. There's a lot of times where I'll buy a product not because I want it or need it when I see it at the store, but I'm just like, I might really need a bunch of it later. So anytime I see it, I just kind of pick up stuff, and those kinds of things are the kinds I get. There's a couple of like peanut-free snacks and cookies that sometimes show up at like the grocery store, but so like every time I see it, I always pick some up just so we can have some, but also so that way the store gets the signal of like, hey, when we buy this stuff, people buy it. So we should keep getting it. Sam Rodriguez says, I love the Trader Joe's orange chicken. My kids love that. It's a lot crunchier than the Kung Pao cauliflower or this tempura cauliflower. And so the breading is real nice. And then it's actually something my kids will eat. So they call it the Chinese chicken at home. And so that's something that I'll make from time to time. But they go in spurts. They'll love it, and then I'll buy a couple of bags, and then by the time I get like halfway through those, they're like, we don't really want to eat that anymore. But it is a very good product. All right, and now I got a bunch of ranch dressing, and the ranch dressing I did for today is the Kroger brand, the generic brand that we taste tested. Was it 2 weeks ago? Was it last week? So I don't know. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to see if just the ranch works, and then I'll probably do a double dip of the buffalo and then the ranch for the next one, but we'll see how this goes. That's really good. I like that a lot. It tastes yummy. Now, how do you guys feel about like eating when you get like a veggie tray, raw cauliflower being on the veggie tray? I'll eat it, but I gotta tell you, I'm not always a fan. There's something about it. it always feels like it's a little, even if there's a bunch of ranch dressing to dip it in, I just always feel like the raw cauliflower feels a bit squeaky when you eat it. And I'm just like, I have a feel, it just makes me nervous that my digestive system is just going to be like, oh, this is too much pure fiber at once. I don't know. Dominic Spernowski says, Kafuzi likes the ranch better. What a surprise. Yeah, I mean, I've been in the Midwest a long time now. A long time. All right, Johnny Sharpie says, hey, Co, completed my first 10K race yesterday. Awesome. Did it in 66 minutes. Awesome. Great job. Fantastic time, Johnny. Congratulations. Eric says, I do dig the Korean scallion pancakes from Trader Joe's. Throw some kimchi, spicy sriracha, mayo, and an egg. And that's some brunch right there. Oh, I did just buy some more kimchi today from the store. Not Trader Joe's, but from the store. So, yeah. But yeah, kimchi, mayo, and an egg. I think that could work. That had never occurred to me to do that. But that sounds pretty delicious, actually. Sounds good. Brett Reed said, ever deal with tired legs for a long period of time? Going on about 9 days now. Sleep diet stayed the same, but even the easy runs are challenging. Took 2 days off, still not bouncing back. Yeah, I would say, I mean, even if the diet stayed the same, if you had been working out a lot before that, Brett, it might be that your diet stayed the same when your body needed more. So I don't know how hot it is where you guys are, but it got hot here over like the last 9 days. And so I know my sugars and salts have had to go up. I've just been feeling groggy without it. So maybe there's something that your body's missing. So I would kind of listen to some cravings. So if your body's craving something, check that out. And then it might just be like if you had been training a lot, your body just needs a little bit of time to recover some more. 2 days off and not bouncing back seems like a long time. I might try and go for something just really easy to get things moving today. Yeah. I've definitely been in that mode like towards the end of a marathon training block where I just feel exhausted doing everything. And what I've done when that happens to me is I've adjusted the training. So some weeks during marathon training, I'll have 3 workouts a week, like a threshold day, a 5K pace day, and then a marathon pace day. And then when I start feeling like, the easy effort on an easy run, the paces get slower and slower and slower, and I'm just tired no matter what, then I'll back off that 5K pace day, or I'll cut down the workouts a little bit to try and do that. So it sounds like your body is just trying to tell you that like whatever you've been doing has been too much. And maybe you need a little bit of time to absorb what's been going on. And I know a lot of people might think like, oh, well, I don't want to miss those workouts. But I think that even if you did workouts in a time when your body is giving you these signals, it's not going to take. You might get through the reps, but it won't. You'll get all the downsides, like the muscle damage and the fatigue and the strain on the body. But your body's not like. I feel like when you get to that point, your body's not sustaining it. It's just surviving it, and it's a different, I think, response. So, but if it keeps persisting, there could be something else going on there, Brett. So maybe that's something that you need to get checked out if it still persists after a long period of time. I don't know what your previous kind of training has been like, so it might be more than just like the load has been too much lately. It could be a chronic thing, which maybe for some people it gets to a point where their hormones kind of get out of alignment, and then it requires a little bit more. So something to it's good that you're aware of that and are keeping tabs on it, but maybe your body just needs a little bit more time. Terry says crudités are lovely. It's the only thing my wife lets me cook. That's nice. Awesome. And Half Pedro says, I'm not a vegetarian, but I love hummus and raw veggie, broccoli, carrots, celery, and yes, cauliflower. See, throw a bunch of different peppers on there. I love it. Especially like sweet, like bell peppers, even some spicy peppers. I love it. Carrots, cucumbers and tomatoes. I could just eat those all day. The broccoli freaks me out because of like the little florets when they start to disintegrate in your mouth. It feels weird to me, so I don't always love that. And then the cauliflower, when it's raw, I'm just not a huge fan of it. It just always kind of like, I find it to be a little bit weird. I don't know. I guess I'm the only one. All right. Now I got it dipped into the buffalo sauce, and then I'm going to buffalo into the ranch. I feel like this might be the way. That's good. But again, I feel like this tempura cauliflower is just doesn't have enough of its own flavor. I just feel like I'm eating condiments at this point when the buffalo sauce is involved. If I'm eating just the ranch dressing, that's actually pretty good. And of course with the kung pao sauce too, it's good. This is nice. I'm really enjoying today's mukbang, I gotta tell you. Sam Rodriguez says, "You ever try okonomiyaki, Ko?" I've never had it. I can't say that I have. Kurt says, "Some of it gets a bit overwhelming with the vegetables. I eat it, but I have to swap with something like peppers and tomatoes." Yeah, I mean, can you imagine like sitting down to just like a plate full of cauliflower? One of my nieces used to do that. Like she would just sit, like if there was a veggie tray, she would sit down in front of it and just eat the cauliflower. To the point where like my brother-in-law would be like, "Hey, you got to take something besides just cauliflower." I'm like, I don't understand like why he was like, it's not like she's eating chicken fingers, right? Like it's just raw cauliflower. You just let her eat the cauliflower. And so I never understood that, but she used to love it. All right, we're going back to the kung pao sauce. It's good. Sue says, "Crudités are the only way I'll eat ranch." I think that's funny. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy ranch. I probably enjoy it less than the average Midwesterner, which is to say, I probably enjoy ranch more than most people. But like ranch is like a mini like sub-religion over here. It's just everywhere. Frank says, "Just eat the uncut cauliflower like you were a zombie munching on brains." And I think that would also be a lot of just like cauliflower-ness for me to eat it. Like to eat it like this, just like that. All right, maybe we'll try that for the next mukbang, is just me just trying to eat a head of cauliflower by the end. Oh, no, I don't think I could do that. That would be gross. I don't think I could do that at all. No way. But you know what always makes me a little bit angry is when you're watching like a cooking show or something and people are talking about cauliflower steaks. I feel like those two words shouldn't go together, number one. And then the way that it's made is they just cut slices like it's like a brain and an MRI, just slices of the cauliflower. And I'm like, you're just going to do that? You're not going to wait, you're going to just make a giant like 6-inch round of cauliflower and feed that to somebody? And they'll usually put some sort of like chimichurri or some sort of oil and herb and garlicky mixture on top and then grill it. And I'm still just like, there's other ways to do that. And I just feel like someone somewhere really needs the whole like knife and fork experience. And I'm just like, oh, that's a lot of pandering. It feels like I just really don't like cauliflower steak. I don't know why. And it says, "Cauliflower for me is full of memories of struggling to finish cauliflower cheese as a kid. We weren't allowed to leave the table until we had finished." Oh, see, my mom did that to me a couple of times with broccoli. And my way of kind of like resolving that situation is I would try it and then convince myself that it was so gross that I would like kind of throw up at the table. And so after that, my mom stopped like making me. But the solution was to then just douse it in like a cheese sauce, and then I would eat it. We never did that with broccoli though. So, I mean, with cauliflower though. I feel like I don't know. Maybe it was just in our like Korean immigrant household, cauliflower wasn't a thing. I just don't feel like I saw a lot of cauliflower growing up. I'm sure I did, and I just blocked it out of my mind and couldn't remember it or think of it. But I'm almost certain I never saw a cauliflower until maybe like college. I just don't recall seeing it anywhere ever growing up. I don't know. Sam Rodriguez says, the best veggie people used to always tell me was disgusting is Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts is one of my favorite vegetables. I don't like them when they get too big because they get a little bit bitter and then also a little bit just weird looking. But like the little baby ones, I usually like the ones that come in like the freezer bag. The little baby ones. I'll defrost them in the microwave and then I usually cut them open so they're like halved and then roast them that way. I just think that like a good roasted Brussels sprout is absolutely delicious. Let's see. Eric says about the cauliflower steaks. He says yes, just like tofu dog. Stop trying to pretend it's a hot dog. Just call it tofu or cauliflower. Hashtag over 50. Is that a complaint? Is that like a old person's complaint? Am I being really old by complaining about cauliflower steaks? I mean, it's not the most like, I guess, on trend type of conversation to have, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know. JC said, I had roasted cauliflower last night, salt, pepper, garlic, olive oil, and smoked paprika. Sounds delicious. I would break off the florets and do that, get some olive oil in there, get it so that way the seasonings can really coat and stick onto the cauliflower. Sounds great. I wouldn't want to eat it as like a steak, quote unquote, So like, yeah, but that sounds delicious. A little bit of paprika. I like to put a little bit of chili powder on mine. Depending if who's going to eat the most. My wife used to make a butter chicken, which I think the ingredients were like 2 sticks of butter and a bunch of curry powder, and then just roast the chicken in the oven in a deep, in a baking tray. Really good. I'd make the same thing for the cauliflower. It's really delicious. Butter and curry sauce or curry powder is probably a good way to eat pretty much just about anything. Mark Ingham says, yeah, I seen those cauliflower steaks. What do you do with the ends? I guess you eat them with ranch? I don't know. Who was it saying that the ends are really good for... someone said the ends are really good for composting? Oh, yeah. Eric said cauliflower, hard butts, and too thick asparagus heads are only good for composting. So I guess you're not supposed to eat it. I'm not sure. Mrs. CMR80 says, any suggestions for compact battery packs for cell phones? Can't deal with a dead phone for my marathon this fall. I guess it would suppose if you are, if you have like a newer iPhone, then they have like the MagSafe battery packs that you could put on there. And so I'm guessing you could have the phone and the battery separate so that way it balances the weight a little bit more. But when the phone dies, then you slap them together and then it'll charge like magnetically. If you don't have a newer iPhone, like I don't have a newer iPhone, or if that doesn't work for you, I think Anker makes a lot of card-sized ones that are supposed to be a little bit thinner. And again, I think that if you're putting that in a pack or trying to run with it, that's going to be a little bit easier rather than like they make some of them that look like a giant tube of lipstick, or that look more like a couple of rolls of coins taped together. Like they make them that look a bit more chunky, but they also make bigger, thinner ones too that I feel like might be a little bit easier to carry for running. Let's see. Runner Will says, oh, cauliflower is my jam. I just made some, what is that? MASG potatoes with some? I don't know what that means. But yeah, I think that cauliflower is very useful. I do think that we're at the point where cauliflower is trying to do a little bit too much. It's like the turkey of the vegetable world. It's in everything. But yeah, like once we got to like cauliflower pizza crust, I was like, too far. I remember a long time ago, my wife was like, we should take cauliflower and we can make mashed potatoes out of it. And I was like, excuse me, what? This is when we were dating. I'm like, what are you trying to do with, like, why can't we just have potatoes if we want to eat potatoes? She's like, but you could do it with cauliflower and then you treat it like a potato. It mashes just the same. I'm like, you know what else mashes like potatoes? Potatoes. But we did it. And it was really watery, and I didn't really like the flavor of it. But you know what I do like though? Like a cauliflower cheese soup. That's pretty much is my wife's cauliflower mashed potatoes recipe. Is that what I think that's what Will was trying to write? Cauliflower mashed potato recipe, but I just add a lot more cheese and a little bit of liquid to it to make it the right soup consistency. I find myself keep reaching back for the Kung Pao sauce. I think that's the best one. Kurt says, my mom made my brother and I eat eggplant sticks a few times. Every time she wasn't looking, we would toss them out our fourth floor window and cleans. I love that story. That sounds amazing. I don't know why, but I find that so funny. Because I can imagine like myself walking down the street, like getting hit in the head with like eggplant sticks and being like, those guys, what are they doing up there? Just being super mad about it. You know, one of the things that my wife and I are looking forward to, last year, my mother-in-law planted a bunch of zucchini. And if any of you guys have planted zucchini before, when you know that when you plant zucchini, you don't just get a little bit of zucchini, even if you try to grow only a little bit of zucchini. So she had all the zucchini we couldn't figure out what to do with. So we just had like roast vegetables for dinner like every day for a really long time because she kept sending us home with more and more zucchini. This year, I think what we're going to do is we're going to make zucchini parm sandwiches and just like freeze a bunch of, like fry it, freeze it, whatever, get it breaded and fried and frozen so I could just have sandwiches. One of my favorite restaurants in the neighborhood, Stella's a diner, used to have a zucchini parm sandwich and it was really good. At some point during the pandemic, they decided that they were going to take that off the menu because now they don't have it on the menu. And I've asked them about it. They say they don't have it anymore. They're not bringing it back. So I'm really disappointed in that. I would prefer an eggplant parm sandwich to zucchini parm sandwich, but like I felt like it was a pretty good alternative to it. And zucchini is like basically a weed, but I do love to eat it. It grows like crazy, so like I mean, like that's a good way to eat a bunch of vegetables. Stevie76 question: what's the difference between cauliflower and snot? Answer: children will eat their snot. I love that. That's so funny. All right, we're going to get back into some of this buffalo sauce. Do the buffalo sauce with a little bit of ranch on it to get a little bit of mix and match. It's pretty good. It's pretty good that way. Runner Will says, broccoli and cauliflower are the same plant, just modified. Is that true? I remember there was a point where I was just obsessed with eating broccoli flower, the plant that looks like the hybrid of the two of them. And then like, which what was it? Oh, I just spilled something on myself. I spilled hot sauce all over myself. There's one that was like, has like purple florets. Have you tried that? They all kind of taste the same to me, but I do enjoy eating purple food. Eric Mitterman says, welcome everyone to Cruciferous Talk. What's your question, caller? Yeah, that's pretty funny. Otto Vogrintik says, Brussels sprouts are the bomb. Yeah, I don't know how they got such a bad rap growing up. I mean, I don't think I ever had Brussels sprouts growing up. I think I only ate them as an adult. But like, even trying to eat them or approach them as an adult, I just felt like there was so much like negative energy associated with it. And I don't even know where that came from, you know? Brett says, I know I've entered adulthood when I started enjoying veggies. Brussels sprouts really confirmed it for me. Yeah. I don't think I started eating Brussels sprouts until I was in my 20s for sure. Matthias says, I won't reheat a Brussels sprout though, once they have been cooked once. Oh, really? I usually put them in some sort of mash or hash or something. So like a lot of times what I like to do is, this is something that one of the first things I ever cooked growing up would be, my mom would buy all these like tater tots that you put in the freezer. And then on a Sunday morning, I would go through and just make a big giant egg scramble, putting in whatever leftovers we had in the fridge. And then also putting in the tater tots too. So it's just one, kind of like a skillet, I guess. I didn't put Brussels sprouts in those then, but that's kind of the thing. I still make that kind of thing from time to time now. That's where I like to have leftover Brussels sprouts. I also like to put it in leftover Brussels sprouts. I think work really well in any sort of like creamy pasta. I like it there. Just kind of like throw it in there, covered in Alfredo sauce. Sometimes I'm not the fanciest cook. A lot of the times I'm not the fanciest cook. But, I get my veggies eaten. Kurt says, the taco place in Princeton makes really good Brussels sprouts. I have them in tacos and burritos all the time. That sounds delicious. I'm trying to think if I've eaten at the taco place in Princeton. I don't think I have. Frank says, when the boomers were kids, their parents only cooked them by boiling them to death. See, I've only heard about that from watching Good Eats, Alton Brown, when he had a Brussels sprouts episode. And I was like, people did that? Like, why would they do that? I mean, my parents never did. So like, I didn't experience that. So, yeah. Anthony says, the microwave Brussels sprouts I got as a kid were awful compared to the non-frozen Brussels sprouts. Yeah, I guess, it's like, I wonder if all our vegetable experiences as we were kids were actually as objectively bad as we remember. Kind of like Frank saying, like, everyone's parents boiled them to death until they got all stinky. And like Anthony saying that his got microwaved, me remembering that my mom, like, I think she just steamed them. I'm not sure what she did to them. I just never liked them. But maybe maybe we were just kids and didn't want to eat those things. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's hard to say. Sue Ann likes to deep fry her Brussels sprouts. Tossed with honey and sriracha? That's a lot of stuff. I don't know. It sounds good. I think I could do this. Ed says, I air fry the Brussels sprouts, toss them with a bit of honey and balsam. You guys are going with a lot of honey with these Brussels sprouts. Is it to take away the edge off the bitterness? I like this idea. Mrs. CMR80 says, sprouts are awesome stir-fried into anything, but love them tossed with a drizzle of maple syrup and bacon and some potato. That's a good one. Yeah, I've seen that before. I think the key maybe for the Brussels sprouts should be to get some sugar on them, I guess. I usually just do like olive oil, a little bit of butter, I try to put some Parmesan on at the end. I usually roast them. That's my preferred way. Sometimes I'll just cook them up in the frying pan. Just to get a little crisp on the outside. That's usually just salt, pepper, garlic. And it says, no, the Brussels sprouts at home were always boiled to death and they were so bad. Okay. All right. Kurt says, next time you're in New Jersey, I'll bring you a Beyond Taco and Brussels sprouts burrito. That sounds good to me. That sounds really delicious. Sam says, this is weird, but I never ate eggs until I turned like 18. I was turned off by them, and now I love them. Yeah, sometimes, I've heard this before, where some people are like, yeah, I don't like eggs. The texture really gets to me. And I'm like a boiled egg texture? Like some people are weird about it, and I'm like, I'm not understanding it. I'm like, what are you... I feel like there's probably like a million other foods that you're eating that have a similar texture that you have no problem with, for some people. I'm not saying that's you, Sam. But I have a feeling it's like that episode of The Simpsons where Marge is trying to get him to eat oatmeal And he throws away his breakfast. They're like, oh, there's a fly on it. And so he starts eating the bacon and eggs. And Bart's like, there's a fly on that. And Homer's like, eh. And he just keeps eating. Let me see. Otto Vogrinchik says, my 6-year-old son loves onions. Can't stand tomatoes, but onions raw, sauteed, grilled in any way. That's amazing. Both my wife and my daughter, my older daughter, they detest onions. Like, I don't even buy onions anymore because they just always pick it out of everything. Or with my daughter, she'll just won't eat it. And she has a palate. Like, I feel like she could be a sommelier. She's a very sensitive, she can smell and taste anything. It's incredible. So I've never been very good at being able to hide vegetables in anything because she always knows it's there. She could spot it out. But she really has like a very strong aversion to onions. And I'm not sure what that is. Frank says, eggplants and peas are objectively pretty bitter. My impression is that broccoli is actually less bitter than it used to be. Really? I feel like peas are sweet. Very, very sweet. Eggplant, yeah, I think is very bitter. You gotta take the time to draw it out. You gotta, get the salt and sweat it out or whatever. That's a hard thing about eggplant, I feel like. But I suppose it makes sense that broccoli could have been less, like it could have been eventually, like over time, selected for less bitterness. And so the varieties that grow now could be less bitter. I suppose that makes sense. I don't know. It's an interesting theory. I haven't thought about it. And it says, the broccoli from his childhood was that bad. Or the Brussels sprouts. He says, I'm 52, my memory's not that bad. I can still smell the Brussels sprouts and cauliflower cheese. And I last had them in the 70s. I do feel like food memories register strongly in our brains. Or wherever it is that memories reside. Because you have so many senses involved in the experience, Especially if it was a bad vegetable experience. Because I feel like a bad vegetable experience always has a strong emotional component to it with the child. And probably for the adult, the parent as well. But you've got like an emotional component, a smell, a taste, some visuals to go along with it. So I just feel like, yeah, it's hitting like a lot of the senses. So I feel like that makes sense that people would remember those things strongly. I think my like just strangest like food memory, like my two strongest like food, maybe three. Two strongest food memory. One is the broccoli and the cheese, just vomiting in the kitchen in like the 5th grade. Just like nibbling like a little floret and just like bleh, vomiting. Another one would be time I spent a summer in Korea when I was maybe like a little bit, maybe not that far from my daughter's age now. I think maybe I was like 12. And I just remember my grandmother got so mad at me because I wouldn't eat the fish stew. And the fish stew was like this red, spicy stew that had nothing but like a fish head in it, like with eyes and everything. And she's like, you got to eat the eye. And I'm like, I'll eat around it. She's like, no, you're going to eat the eye. And we had a standoff. It was a long standoff. So that was a very traumatic experience for me. I just did not like it. And yeah. She's like, the eye is the best part. And she goes, if you don't eat it, I'm going to eat it. And I was like, then go ahead, you eat it. And I don't think she wanted to eat it. So I felt like I called her bluff. But yeah, that was another strong food experience. And then the third strong food experience was when I flew back home from Korea. I was on a plane by myself, flying like Korean Air flight from like Seoul, Korea. I don't know where I flew out of. Probably was Seoul, flying back to Newark. On a plane by myself, like just the stewardesses are kind of like keeping an eye on me. And I had an olive for the first time. For lunch were these sandwiches. And I was happy to eat sandwiches. I was like, American food again. Sandwiches. And then they had these like 2 little grapes on the side. I'm like, oh, that's not a lot of grapes, but I haven't had grapes in a while. This is nice. Not that they don't have grapes in Korea. I just hadn't had grapes in a while. and it was an olive, and that just threw me off so much, and I had no idea what an olive was. I just threw up. I had asked the stewardess for a second lunch if she could find one, and so she'd gotten me a second lunch. So I'd eaten 2 plates of sandwiches on this flight, flying home by myself, and then at the end of it, I had like 4 grapes. I had 2 olives with each lunch. I ate 2 lunches, and I just threw everything up right on the tray. It was horrible. Yeah. 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 Martha says, we just had hard-boiled eggs and crackers from Trader Joe's, which we bought for the layover. Boring without some interesting spices or something to jazz it up. It's not like a deviled egg or anything. That would make it better. Brett Reed says, the smell of cabbage is one of the worst smells known to mankind. I don't think it's that bad. I guess it depends how bitter the cabbages were. Autovogue Rinchik says, love all this food talk. Cheeseburgers next, please. I mean, I'll do some veggie burgers maybe. Do we need... I feel like we've done a veggie burger comparison on the mukbang, haven't we? I feel like we've gone through like the Morningstar, the Impossible. Have we done that? We've been doing a lot of the Morningstar ones. Not the Morningstar. I eat the Morningstar ones, but for dinner we usually do Impossible burgers. The Impossible burgers are gluten-free. And the Morningstar ones are not. My wife's trying to eliminate some gluten from her diet, so that's usually what we do if we're doing those for dinner. I do think that the Impossible burgers taste better, but the Morningstar ones, they go from like the freezer to the microwave, just nuke it for like 90 seconds, and then you're eating. It's about almost exactly the same amount of time as putting toast in the toaster, at least for the way my toaster is set up. So it's just like 90 seconds and I'm pretty much ready to eat, which I always appreciate. Buffalo sauce, then ranch. It's starting to really grow on me. I'm starting to like it more and more. I still think the Kung Pao sauce is better for these two. All right. Mark says, Cody, you mentioned some chicken recipes. Are you eating chicken lately, fish? I'm cooking chicken at home because my daughter and my wife are wanting more chicken. So I'm cooking it, but I'm not eating it myself. So, yeah. Frank says, I feel like I'm eating food with the Morningstar burgers. The Impossible burgers feel like you were eating technology. Oh, that's an interesting point. I could see where you're coming from with that. I think it depends on the Morningstar burger sometimes, though. Like the grillers, that one just feels like I don't know what I'm eating. But like their veggie burgers or like their bean burgers, that feels like someone took food, pressed it into a patty, froze it, and now you're cooking. You know what I mean? So Sean says, I always prefer an Impossible over Beyond if I get a veggie burger at a restaurant. I don't know if I could tell the difference. Maybe that'll be another mukbang. I'll try to get 2 of those, grill them up, and see if I could tell the difference afterwards. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'll be able to. All right. I think that's a good place to leave it for today, guys. A lot of food talk today, but it makes sense. Today's the mukbang. Tomorrow, we're going to have a video in the morning. Tomorrow morning's video is going to be, I've been testing out some John G apparel for summer and spring of 2022. So I'll go over some of my thoughts on that stuff, and then we'll do another live stream. Tomorrow's live stream, I think was this Frank's idea? I will show you an elevation profile from a trail race, and you'll have to guess which trail race it is. So that'll be tomorrow's Trivia Tuesday, same time as today, 1 p.m. Central. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.